I'm Kamerie Gibson. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, the podcast. I believe that one of the most precious gifts you can share with someone is your story. Pain has purpose and stories can change lives. Your journey to become more inspired and transformed by the lives of those around us starts now. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kamerie Gibson Show, where we talk about transforming our pain into power. And today I have a special and beautiful guest with me here today. His name is Alex. Alex, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience for us, please?
Yes, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Friday. My name is Alexander. Madueke. Gave an official full title. You call me Alex, but it's okay. Alexander is the official name. I'm a young African American. Just kidding. I won't even start there. But that's really where I wanted to start. Talking about my journey. I was always very interested in myself, and always knew that I had a very interesting platter handed to me in a life, to where I was able to see very, very many different perspectives at a very young age, and allowed me to have a very open mind, which kind of carried everything out from that point on. So starting off as, just being Russian and Nigerian, that alone right there, led a lot of gates for me. Being raised on what us Los Angeles beings call the jungles. Being raised in the jungles, being of Russian and African descent. So being, in a sense, the truest form of an African American in a world where there's a lot of confusion about what the African American is, and being around people who had different last names that didn't sound familiar at all, learning that it was a privilege and a blessing that I was still connected to my true last name. So this is a very interesting thing to me. I went to school in West Hollywood, in Gardner Street, full of Russian kids. So I was playing in the park in the Jim Gilliam by nighttime, and then I'm playing with the Russian kids, in the morning. So I felt that gave me a very, broad perspective on kids and different beings, different backgrounds, communities, neighborhoods, and things like that. So, and I'm still there to this day. That's the beautiful thing about it. I really do love what they call, our community down here, and it's truly shaped me for the better, because I feel like I'm allowed it to. So I've seen many examples of good and bad at a very, very, very young age. Chilling up with the rascals at Jim Gilliam, you see a lot of things at a young age, especially those familiar with the nature of the neighborhood, gang culture, and all of that good stuff. So I knew very early that I wanted something good and different for myself. And I saw I have this road and I have that road. And I made a choice very early. And I just knew I was, put here to be something good and to be a light in the world. And not the knuckleheads, like a lot of knuckleheads. That's just the main foundation of, how I got to be who I am and how it started, I would say. Leaving school in elementary school, being picked up by a Russian mother, a lot of the kids would say, who is this? Who is that lady? Who is this woman picking you up? Like, because she's blue-eyed, blonde-haired. And I'd be like, this is my mom. And they'll look like, what do you mean? Like, how? How? And I was telling, a black man can reproduce with a Russian woman and make a brown baby. And so, just learning that, ignorance is a thing. I learned about ignorance in people at a very young age, and I was very accepting of it. Even having Russian people and Europeans trying to pronounce my last name, having your last name played with, because it's Madueke, that I've heard Maduke, Marduke. So, for a period of time, I was almost uncomfortable with that last name, even just being who I am. And yes, I don't want to skip too far down the timeline of just answering that initial first question of yours, because I can just kind of go on and on the conversation.
Yeah, I got you. You kind of set the stage for a lot of questions I'm going to ask and delve into more anyway. So thank you for that. So going back to being Russian and Nigerian, can you talk about your relationship to both of your heritages, or maybe your lack of relationships?
That's a good question. Being raised by my mother, they split when I was about 5-6 years old. I'm a first generation American. I'll say that first. I have 3 sisters, no brothers. My mom was born and raised in Russia. My father and his family are all in Nigeria. So I am truly, in the finest sense, a first generation American. I don't really have too much of a footprint grandparents, uncles, cousins, anything like that. So I've always been connected to what was closest to me, which is my three sisters and my mom. And my mom raised me and split from my father when I was about 5. And she did beyond an excellent job. I was what they call mama's boy, being the only son of 3 sisters. So real close, special connection. And with that being said, I would hear her speak, excuse me, with my grandparents from on the Russian side. So, I heard plenty of Russian. I understand Russian. I can speak a little bit of Russian. I definitely understand a lot more than I can speak. But that's because, I came here and she was learning English as I was learning English as I was born. But I would always hear her speak work matters with her friends in Russian. So I was very connected and interested in my Russian side specifically a lot more heavily than I was into my father's side, because I still had the questions of, what was the true purpose of the parents splitting. I wasn't really affected negatively by it because my mom took excellent care of me, and I'm very grateful for that. But on the father's side, it kind of had shied away from it, because I'm like, it's years so I don't want to connect. And it gave me this last name that a lot of people can't even pronounce right, and just kind of make fun of. And as a younger kid, of course, I wasn't too interested really in that. I just never really even saw myself going to Africa, having the young American mindset of going to Africa, you're going to huts and very low level communities, and why would I want to go there, type of thing. So part of that indoctrination. So I was really disattached from my father's side, and really interested in my mom's side, because they were mostly there and present. But it took for me to reach and expand, and I could say that the flip happened really 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, 2020. So yeah, that's pretty much they don't speak English. I must say that. So, it's a language barrier as well. Russian is a pretty hard language to learn, especially if you're not practicing it every single day. And speaking Igbo, it's not like, they don't have Igbo on Duolingo. You need to find someone who speaks Igbo. That's the tribe that's my lineal tribe on my father's side. I'm Igbo. You can't just look up. Maybe there's a Rosetta Stone. I truly don't know, but I know word to mouth is the best way. So that's also been a part of the barrier and the distance from my family. But now I've taken it upon myself to connect myself back to those roots, starting 2020, that year and beyond.
So what do you think about? It's current news right now with the Brittany Griner and Russia swap. Being Russian. What do you think about what they've done, America, politically?
Politically, I think they wanted to wait just in time to right about now to to play their cards. And I think it's ironic and interesting that they want to release a quote unquote terrorist arms dealer, and that's what it took to make that exchange happen. But at the same time, the Biden administration, I feel, couldn't allow the rest of their terms to close out without really handling that situation, just leaving it. I wouldn't have looked good for them. But moreover, I feel I'm more in a place ever right now to where it's I keep up with the news, but I'm definitely not attached to the news, or don't let it have a hold on my mental or emotional well-being. I think I don't know, Russia is a different giant of its own. They're different ball players and big dogs. And that's why the world hates them, because I can respect the country who looks out for their people, but I like it.
I would not fuck with them. I think they're very I think you told me one time they're very resilient. They're kind of a lot more I feel just they have more grit than a lot of Americans probably do, just because of what their people have endured. Even given how cold it is, you got to be a different type of people.
You read my mind. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I asked my father out the weekend, and for the first time, I really got a download of questions that I never thought to ask him before, things that I knew of him. How does a Nigerian man in the 90s end up in Russia? Especially my dad is not very Americanized, or very very much so traditional Igbo man. So he told me he was on a hunt for money. It led him to Germany, opportunity in Germany, where he stayed there for 4 years living in Germany, and had a girlfriend over there in Germany. And after that, he had a visa issue where it led to him having to go to another country, and that next destination was Russia. So, through issues and trials and tribulations, it landed him in Russia to meet my mother and to be able to produce me. and to come over here to America and set this whole new foundation for our family. So yeah, I was asking over the weekend, like how did that even all happen? And learning he's very business oriented, which learning that about myself. Lately I've been tapping into that aspect. So really improving the connection, I can say, for once. I would ask him about his father, because he lived 100 years. I was seeing the pictures. He had very tribal like outfits on, so he definitely wasn't what you call a religious man. He was very tribal, and you could tell he was tapping into his roots and dealt with his ancestors and all of that. So that's what's been calling to me heavily lately. Just going inwards and learning about myself and my true background and origin on a cosmic level and on a physical, like ancestral bloodline lineage level as well.
I feel like we learn the less anybody outside of us or anything can like affect us or like move us. Like I know who I am. I know where I come from. I know what I'm capable of.
Absolutely, especially once we learn that we have a true cosmic footprint. Like we have footprint history that goes way further back. We're more than these bodies, and that was like the biggest thing for me to learn. It helps me, it helps get away from the matrix of being trapped in what they call racism, because you have to agree to something. You have to agree. I don't agree to white supremacy and all of that, because in my mind, there's no supremacy. Nothing is supreme to the being that I am, because I do know myself, and yeah, it really helps. It helps to stay away from the BS, the bait that gets casted out on a daily basis. How it's like where the world is calm for a few months, and then all of a sudden we have a person getting murdered or a celebrity. Always like a couple months of chill, then boom, it's like they harvest our energy very methodically and periodically. So I done caught onto the program and the patterns. Yeah. I go against the flow because I know who I am. I know that I control my reality. Trying to.
You don't have to be swayed by like sensationalism. They just want us to react. I'm not doing
that. Yeah. Honestly, for a long time now, I've been far, far beyond and over being like politically correct. People always look at me and say, like, "Oh, you should be in the business, deal with the world, deal with the industry. Like, are you model? Are you this? Are you that?" I'm like, I couldn't be in that world because I know what comes with it. It comes contracts, being a good boy, being a goody two shoes, not truly speaking your mind, being controlled. So I truly value my own mind, value my privacy, value my peace and my freedom. So kind of like how, I'm an under the radar type of guy. I really don't like to put myself out there too much. Funny being a businessman, being a commercial business broker, kind of puts myself out there, but at the same time, very good at being incognito, I feel.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful, man. Very mature of you too. I was gonna ask you, how has not having that relationship with your father early on for the majority of your life, that close relationship, how has that affected you and your identity as a black man?
I mean, as a young kid, as a young man, it really had a big impact on me, especially playing baseball growing up, as since I was about 7, 8 years old. So right at Baldwin Park, I had the whole experience watching Baldwin, Dorsey, and all of that. But all that to say, I would see when I was younger, I would see dads pull up every practice. That was my passion. I played some college ball as well, so that's something I really lived and died for at the point in my life. And I always knew that I could make it happen myself, but just that support system, seeing that bond that a lot of fathers had with their son, like that random Saturday morning, waking your son up, taking him to the park, throwing to him, like, having that whole interaction, whether it's just getting shown how to change a flat tire, like, here's how you do this. You ever need something, how you take care of it, like, always would be around me, but I will be very calm. Okay, nice. So yeah, I missed out on a lot of those, what I would call necessities to be taught as a young man, I would say. So even like electrical things, fixing this or like fixing that, like regular household thing. I always wanted to be in a position where I could speak against myself. I always had to go find it myself, whether YouTube or ask my friends, or thankfully I have a buddy who's very good with cars and likes cars, likes to work with them. So it's not too difficult. But yeah, just having a strong backbone, that foundation. I feel like I'm on a journey. I've accomplished a lot on my journey, and I'm always there to pat myself on the back. But like, I can see myself seeing my son in the future, like seeing him accomplish life and just congratulating and really being supportive. Like, wow, I put this into you and proud of you. So it's that little just that closeness, that father, love that you really wanted. And granted, I had stepfather through my mom and shit. Nice taste. So, there's always good men, but, still not nothing like, having that biological seed connection, at least in my opinion, So, but then I remember, I've learned, I realized that, we chose the life that we came into. We're not random. Nothing is random here. All the struggles that we go through in life, we came here to this planet to go through those struggles so we can learn it. And we chose it the majority of the time. So I learned a couple of years ago that I chose him as my father. He didn't just randomly breed me, and I didn't just randomly float into this body. We all see our life play out essentially before we are born. We know, even though we don't remember, we have seen our lives play out, and we know exactly how it's going to end. And it's up to us to come down here and experience it. So I released him of that role that I expected him to have. I released him from that. I gave that power back to myself. And I remembered, I learned, I asked questions. My mother asked my mom, why do you think he's such a way? She told me, he had his father, my grandfather in Nigeria, had 3 wives, 11 children total. He was like the oldest of them. So he was the first one born. And after that came a whole bunch of other children following. So, down the line, it may possibly affected his relationship with his dad, having so many, siblings and different wives from his dad as well. So essentially to say, I believe he might have just not even have truly known how to be a father or had that connection with him to pass it on to me. And then I was really able to understand, I was able to understand that and to really accept that and to realize it and to just simply ask myself, how will I transmute that energy? Then I said, I will have a son of my own. I really love to have a son. And when I do, which I will be coming January 30. So everything that I've wanted, everything that I've craved and desired from my father, I know that I can be that exact vessel to provide that to my child, my son going forward. And it makes me really happy to know that, because it reminds me and tells me that, wow, I'll be a really amazing father, because all these things I wanted, I'm going to be that example. That's how we transmute that energy.
That's just so much sure, man. I'm so proud. I know for me, forgiving my mother for not being there, it's it hurts, because it's what child doesn't want their parent to be there? But you have to get past it. I like what you said about we choose our parents. Nothing happens to us. I wouldn't have been as tough or as resilient, or starting this podcast if I didn't have the situation I had. Not having your father as a young Black man, not having your mother as a young woman, it really can affect you. But I'm glad that we're taking that pain and pushing past it. We're not a victim to nothing that happens to us.
That's what it does. I feel like it sets a very strong foundation, for us as people, because essentially we do want to raise children and have them cared for and provided for, not really lacking and not trauma and tribulation. And I feel like we can reverse those curses and really be providing and be comfortable, be in abundance, which abundance is our nature. But still, how they say, those silver spoon fed children, trust fund babies, a lot of the times, they're not faced with adversity, or unless it's rich people adversity, rich people problem, which is a whole different story. But, true overcoming issues, those simple basic needs, foundation, survival, warmth, heat, food, bills, all that stuff. They don't go through that, not to say you can't be brought up. I want my child to be brought up in wealth, but still, have a good character.
Right.
Most importantly, I want to feel like I came here on this planet to do something that's never been done before. Which I've also been told through Akashic past life reading that I also did get recently, which was very, 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 very enlightening and answered so many of my questions. But I do know I'm here to show something that's never been done before. To show how you can really be tuned in and in the human world and in the spirit at the same time, and really bring that balance. I'm a Libra. I'm all about balance. I embrace balance to the highest degree.
Yeah. There's something you about to have another Aquarius. But going back to baseball, what was it like to make history in South Central? I had to listen to high school.
Oh man, that was really something. That was really something. I feel like all the cards were stacked against us. I feel like it was almost like we could make a movie out of it, because from the group that we were with, we were all together since Little League. It was like a random group of guys. We knew each other since we were like 10, 11, 12 years old. So it was a real family bond type of situation going on. And to know Dorsey hasn't won a baseball championship on high school level since 1958. That's a long time. 1958. And, Dorsey we had all eyes were on Dorsey, mainly being a school known for football. We had dudes getting scholarships year in and year out like crazy, and scouts, they got their scouts coming, watching, doing their thing. But other sports was really under the radar. So, I was on a mission. I didn't let that discourage me or stop me. So yeah, I was in 10th grade. Thanks, shout out to Coach Dobson, my Little League coach. He's the reason I got to Dorsey. Like, he's the reason I got to Dorsey. My first semester of 9th grade, freshman year, I was at University High School on the west side of LA. And he's calling me like, yo, man, like, why are you over there? Like, come over here. Like, I got a spot for you, like, on the team. I know you could play. And I was like, yeah, you definitely know I could play. You definitely taught me how to play this game. So second semester, 9th grade, I was here at Dorsey. And, I was already familiar with the guys and the team. And next year, 10th grade year, so my sophomore year, we took it all the way to Dodger Stadium, and we had 11 guys, just 9 guys on the baseball field at a time, but we had 11 guys on the whole entire roster. So usually, like, the team will have like backup for like every position. So you might have like a 15, 18, 19 man roster. Other team had like Van Nuys High School, I think. Yeah, they had like 25 to 30 people, and we had 11 guys on our squad. So we looked like, a little outmatched.
Right. I came with that
team, but we made it happen.
Yeah, I did.
We made it happen.
I did. 2014.
And I was really happy for Coach Dobson as well, because I know Coach Dobson has coached year in and year out for coach that team at Dorsey. I know, like, he bleeds green. He's someone who's prideful about Dorsey. That's that man right there. So really happy that we're going to do that for him, because he deserved it. We deserved it. It's good, great time. Good time.
Needle forward, y'all gave people hope. Like, in his lifetime, he could say he contributed to that win. So
absolutely, going down to like City Hall after that. I remember Herb Weston, got to go see him downtown. Saw him in like a barbershop like 4 weeks ago at my stepdad's barbershop. He just happened to be sitting there. He looked at me, I looked at him. We're like, do we know each other? And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, great time. It was good.
Yeah, man.
I look at the pictures
because I'm like, that's a historical moment for Dorsey, for everybody. Being from the hood, being in LA, like, we gotta put on for each other. So, can you talk about after high school, college or no college? What was the play there, and why?
College was quite an interesting time. So going off to South Carolina, that's where I spent my first college year. Benedict College. I went the HBCU route. I was pretty excited about that. I just felt the energy of HBCU. I was like, it feels a lot more smaller, community based, and like a big, the rest of them. And Coach Gibson, of course, he had my back. He was connecting coach, and I was able to get my half academic, half baseball scholarship. So I was very grateful for that. That was very helpful, to me and to my mom. That was amazing. First time stepping out of state. It was my very first experience. Leaving California, my first time on an airplane. I remember that like it was yesterday. Like, I've really been in the bubble of Los Angeles my entire life. So college was that first like major leap, even away from home. But my mom was very nerve wracking. It was very nerve wracking to her, putting me in another state and trusting, that I'll be okay, have some support. And just, of course, that I'll do what I need to do. But, I'm here now, so I'm still alive, and I made it back clearly. But wow, there's so many goods, so many ups, and so many downs. It was like a chaos, a tornado. The people were amazing there. I really like the Southern hospitality. That's a real thing. It's a real thing. Either, you deal with some real a-holes, or really, really just nice and sweet. I spent time in the main urban part of the city, which is Columbia. I didn't go out to the outskirts too much, besides on the very first day when I wanted to go to the beach. So I went to Myrtle Beach. I had to go to these little trailer park homes, saw a few Confederate flags. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to stay in the main part of this city. I'm not going to explore too far out. And I was a bio major, so I'm really big on sciences. If I was ever into a subject, I was good at school. I just didn't really like it at all, because I just didn't feel the connection with what I'm directly learning, unless it was like science related. I'm like, if something is close to being official, legit, sciences are cool. History, I knew history. I knew something was funky enough, but the history was, I was doing bio major, pretty Classes were good. I was off campus, had my own apartment. Very, very thankful. If anything, I learned major in my time in college in South Carolina is I would say to learn and understand which part I'm allowing to lead myself, to my higher self and my lower self, because I feel like I've came away with so many close calls of different things. Like let's just say, a lot of my buddies on my baseball team, south side of Chicago, gang banging baseball players, are very ironic and strange. But yeah, due to the team coming down on scholarship. But seriously about that life, my roommates got into some. Anyways, I just found that I had to get myself back here on this side of the country, and I was guided and I was aligned to come back here. It was the start of me getting away from religion on a mindset type of basis. The very, very first person that I met in South Carolina on the first day of me landing there was in a restaurant named Lizard Thickets, very hot summer day, and then met this pastor, this bishop man that, long story short, ended up being something not comfortable, very strange, in one of those situations where it's just like you see trouble in a not safe situation, and kind of strange and weird and all that. So yeah, the trouble, the people, the ratchery. I had a whole bunch of I got all my partying out, I would say. So I truly I executed my lower self leaving South Carolina, and I got it all out the way, the partying, clubbing, and I came back with a clear vision that I belong here and that my footprint should be in Los Angeles. And yeah, I spent 1 year there, and I came back alive, unscathed.
Alive, unscathed. No, I'm glad, man. Okay, so we talked a bit about the strange people that you met out there in the Carolinas. So for people who may be in a similar situation, meeting weird people, they may be feeling like they're being taken advantage of, right? You're a young person, questionable. Mm-hmm. Your parents aren't there. How did you escape that? Mm-hmm. Escape that? That's true.
For me, honestly, whenever I left, I simply had to tell, oh man, how do I go about this? Open communication, being open, being straightforward, and things being known. But then, certain people are not always in fortunate, similar situations to where, let me think without saying too much. I told this individual, I just told him, I was like, hey, mister, these little fantasies that I see that you're kind of about and with, I'm just really, really, not into that, not with that, really just not my style and forte. And just let it be known very fast and straightforward, which I felt like was a risk because I was, but this gentleman who had a very father-like, mentor-like appreciation over me. I want to tell you, I went to Lizard Thickets, I went to this restaurant, and that gentleman kind of just sensed that I was just new in the world, and then looked at me with big eyes and came up to me, introduced me, as a pastor, like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, it's my first day here. I just came here from California. And we have family. My family was with me. Came introduced them to my mother and everything. And yeah, once my family left and felt all comfortable with them, that's when things started getting a little strange. But thankfully, nothing like really ever happened to that degree. But then it makes me wonder. Hopefully no one has to go through similar things like that. It's really because we would go to places in the city and people would notice, man. People are like, oh, hello, like, oh, hey, Mister. I was like, they would recognize him and come up to him, give him a hug and smile and all types of things. Oh, this guy knows he had a psychology degree, had a few restaurants, had some money, like had his own church and everything. So this guy, real deal. Told me he had a specific love for me, all types of things. But for anyone that's answer your question, without going too much into details, I would say just to communicate, just to let people know if you ever feel like you're in an unsafe situation or environment, having that backup. I would always tell my buddies, I'm not back in 3 hours. Definitely just just hit me up, give me a phone call, just check on me. And me being like a big dude, thankfully, I always felt ready and very capable of defending myself to I'll be ready to off of human being in defense for my life if I needed to. Of course, I'm nowhere near a violent, aggressive human being. So that's what I would say. Or if you can just completely get away from the situation, just get away from the situation. Like me, I'll just leave South Carolina. Clearly, came here to learn and experience. And
no, but I really want to touch on that because a lot of people will overlook that and be like, oh, he's a man, he has that father-like mentorship, I want my son to be, but a lot of men in power play into that, and especially you not having your father there to be that line of defense, to
I hear what you're saying. So I'll say this. So it ruined a lot of the relationships that I did have already going. For one, how I mentioned Coach Dobson, my high school baseball coach, and my little league coach. The one father figure that I did have that really strong, close bond with. And then few other buddies of mine, gentlemen, who took pictures. Took pictures for our high school baseball team when we won that championship year. Very, very nice gentleman, Mr. Jones, my guy. But he was also that older gentleman, father figure, mentor, purest of heart, purest of intentions, pure energy, great energy. But with it's like the trauma that I dealt with, me and my perspective on men, older men that might have any kind of intention, even if it's good, any interest in to me in any kind of regards, they just kind of really seriously rubbed me off the wrong way. And coming back from South Carolina, I graduated 2016, went to South Carolina 2017, came back 2018, and it's 2022, about to be 2023 now. I still haven't seen Coach Dobson in the physical flesh. I honestly plan to very soon. He will pop up in my dreams often. I've seen him in my dreams where walking down the street, my hand over his shoulder, he goes chop it up in the astral realm. And dreams aren't fake either. Dreams are almost more real than this world. That's a whole different story. So I knew that, it led me to ask, why is that? Why am I even seeing him? Oh, I haven't seen him in years, and really close, really cool. Not that we've ever had an argument or any bad kind of anything. It's like a father coming back from school, coming back to what you call your father and giving the update. Yeah, this is where you sent me out to. I did good. This is what I did, accomplished, yada, yada, yada. But not wanting, because I wouldn't want to be, I wouldn't want to lie to him about it. I would want to be honest and transparent. So it would really honestly lead to me going into that. There's also a situation couple times and, staying with this church man, and he's gonna be like, who? And I'm explaining the whole story, go through it, and I wouldn't want to put that on him or put that weight on him, or I don't feel like I was blaming him for anything, but maybe I already kind of was subconsciously since I didn't even see him. I still have, to this day, and I've been thinking about it. I was actually thinking maybe next week I might just pull up to Dorsey. I'm 3 minutes away from Dorsey, so I was like, why can I not? You can throw a rock, and you can throw a rock in the Dorsey High School, it'll hit Coach Dobson somewhere. That's how easy he is to find, because he's always there. So I came to the realization maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I was like, wow, I said I owe that to myself to to be able to reestablish those good, healthy connections that I did have with older male figures. And I did see my buddy Mr. Jones, the one that was taking pictures for us for the team, and that was really cool. With a real older brother, father figure. So I was able to break it down to him. So it was cool. I'm just slowly reestablishing things, and reiterating to myself that I owe it to myself and I deserve to, have loving, healthy relationships, even if some one person might have ruined that in the past, and I just didn't really see it. I just honestly didn't really want to deal with certain things, and really look back at them.
Yeah, man, I'm so, oh my gosh. And you must have a young prince, and God forbid something happened to you, and you want other men to be able to, to fill in and be that, that milk for your baby boy. So, you shouldn't let that experience, traumatize you. I've had my own experience with women, doing things to me, and I had to be like, you know what? Well, I don't have my mother either, so I need to cling to somebody, I need to have some women to follow their blueprint. So we
need that
exactly. Network. And it's okay, like you said, nobody can hurt you. Nobody can do shit to you. Let somebody try you, see what happens to you.
Oh yeah. I've only gotten wiser. I've only gotten more strong.
Exactly.
Exactly. Get my CCW. I turned in my application real recently. I got toys, but moreover, I know I'm protected in spirit. I learned through my reading that I have hundreds upon hundreds of ancestors. with me, guiding me and protecting me. My two ancient aunties, learn my past. I just learned so much, and I waited 6 months. It was 6 months of a delayed reading, and the questions I asked and the info that I got, I really finally got on the right track of my life, and I knew that I came here for a specific purpose, and now that purpose is like finally been realized, and that part of the cycle I'm at right now is like just kind of unlocking what you would call your God self, getting that Kundalini energy awakened. So specifically for me, what I need to do right now is I need to heal and unblock and balance all of my energy centers, aka also called the chakras. So I learned for myself. I'm pretty good and decent in all my chakras, but my root chakra, sacral, third eye, and then crown is my exact levels of the ones that I have to strengthen and get on. So I spent all of November, I started last month. I got the reading in October. I started my chakra ritual where I focus on one specific chakra. I got about 5 to 7 different books dealing with. I got 5 to 7 different books on the chakras in general, just different books. And then for that 1 month, I was reading all those different books on one specific chakra. So the root chakra, the red, that very first one. So I learned about myself that I have a hard time. I wasn't always really good at rooting myself down here on this earth, because being the Libra spiritualist that I am, and the questions and the wandering mind that I am, I would be so far kind of out of this vessel sometimes. And I didn't realize it was important. It was important to be like spiritual, but you don't want to be so spiritually high that you're no earthly good type of thing. So yes. And my favorite color, my least favorite, always been red. Just don't like red. It's too human. Too human. It just looks like emotion. I see red. I just see like everything that relates to humanity. And so I spent last month, I'm really doing a lot of yoga that works with that root chakra, wearing red, spending time in nature, grounding my feet into the earth, and family matters deal with the root chakra, ancestral type of things, very grounding, stability, security on this earth, on this physical world. That's what everything related to the root chakra is. So that's what I've been focusing on. And then starting this month, I was told through my reading, and this information came through my 2 aunties, my very ancient aunties, 180 generations back specifically. So I learned that I'm an old soul. Definitely. I always knew that, but they're bringing me this ritual of how to unlock and come back to my soulfulness, not hopefulness, but the soulfulness. Like I really do feel balanced in my root. I've really been in the moment. I've been here, grounded in the present, in this 3-dimensional world as of November. And she said, once I'm done with the month of my root chakra work, I need to go to the sacral. But before I do the sacral, which is the orange chakra, which deals with creativity, creative energy, or sexual energy, before you get into that, you need to do a liquid fast for 7 days to reconnect with your light body, with your spirit body. So that's what I was saying earlier, how I'll say it all, how it makes sense. So that's why, currently on my, also I've been fasting all week. It's been a while too. It's been a while since I've been fast. So that discipline, one of my major things with that I came down here to deal with was just the discipline of the physical. So I love food too. I love food. I could eat by myself. So day 5, and I feel really good. I feel really light. And yes, I'll be starting my sacral chakra work, and I'll be going up the ladder. And then, they say it takes about 1 year, 2, 3. And people might ask, well, why are you doing this? Like, what's the purpose? And my purpose in doing all of that is I am attempting, I should say I will speak it into reality as if it's present, but I'm working to, fully unlock the first eye, what people call it third eye, but the first eye, a lot of people have been interested in that, but I've always been interested in seeing what's really there. They tell us we can only see like 1% of the light spectrum. We can only see with our 2 eyes, the 1% of the light spectrum. So there's so much that we cannot see. You gotta think about X-rays, gamma rays, like electricity. There's a lot that we just don't see in process. So, and I just truly believe, we're energy and vibration. People never die. We don't really truly go anywhere. At least in a spirit sense. The only thing that dies is our physical body. But I just, I learned about a lot of high level credentialed. I learned about the conscious community. You know, a lot of the teachers, the elders that were here breaking these things down in the 90s and the 80s, some even in the 70s. And it's hard to find, not really hard to find, but it's in the cut. It's, you know, they're in the crevices of the internet, but it's all there for us.
What made you seek it out, though? What made you?
Great question. About 2 years ago, I went into my bedroom. My sister, Anna, good old Anna, I came into the bedroom one day and she said something that kind of sparked my brain. It's like, it just changed everything like in an instant. I came into her bedroom and she was sitting there very still. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm speaking to the ancestors. And it's like before I knew a lick of spirituality or anything, like, I was like barely trying to figure out and really like pure creation. Cause I got a tattoo right here on my arm, though, my second or first tat. My mother's Jehovah's Witness, you know, so I was raised in that. But I was also going to church in like West Hollywood, a Russian church full of Russian people where like they would look in and see a little brown boy, like, brown boy, how do you find his way into like this church? So, and then some things were in Russian. So I never truly felt like a connected spirit of love and that energy. Like, yes, church, this is where I want to be. I want to go, like anything. And then there's the Kingdom Hall. Like, you know, you got the elders, the brothers in the community, the sisters and brothers, and those Kingdom Hall people. I feel like they're even worse off. Not all of them, but, you know, I have my experiences with them and I don't judge a whole group of people. But all that to say, I was already kind of breaking out of that. And then I came into the room and she said, she's speaking to her ancestors. And I was like, huh? I was like, what? I never really even thought about their ancestors. Cause, you know, I'm having a very small family unit, just the sisters and the mom and nothing else. That's all I was able to think about, let alone the grandparents. I was thinking my grandparents, I can't even really talk to them. So let alone the generations that go further beyond and behind them and learning what like our DNA is, learning that there's like the terabytes and terabytes that the scientists have, and they could put into our DNA. You could put information into our DNA. There's so much stuff that can be stored and coded into the DNA. So like, and then I remembered learning in elementary school about junk DNA. They told us that we have junk DNA, like the actual word junk, and that like 96-97% of our DNA is junk DNA, and it has no use and it's useless. But then I'm like, didn't they just say, you know, like special magical beings, and you know, learning that we're cosmic beings, you know, we're light bodies, and that we just have all this junk. So I learned that all this information, all these codes that we have are from our ancestors, all this information, the memories of our ancestors, the lifetimes, the lessons that they've learned, the skills that they've had, the bad things, the trauma, it all gets stored in the DNA. You know, the ancestral memory that a lot of us play out even in today. See a lot of people's traumas get exacerbated and re-triggered, and things in society, social media, the news, they just re-trigger these traumas and such. So yes, I started really learning and realizing that it's up to me and how I want to program my DNA, what I want to do, what I want to pull out of my DNA, and most importantly, how I want to rewrite and recode my DNA. So it's like, because I'm like, this is what I will be passing. It's what's passed to me, and it's what I'm going to be passing to my seed. We can change, we can flip what they say, you know, flipping the switch, breaking the generational curses, like, you know, what you're doing, taking everything you've been through and putting it on a platform and bringing it to the people. So shout out to you for that. That's really what's needed. And I feel like we are really the runners, like the crystal children, like we're the ones coming into full effect right now. Children, meaning, the children born in the period of the 90s. The 90s, we are the crystal babies. And then we have our indigo baby. You know, like those 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, a lot of them are like on some fuck system type shit. Like this all needs to come down. Like the Umars, like Dr. Umars, those are the indigos, the real indigo children right there. Those indigos. So we needed them. We needed them to come and break down this whole thing to rebel against system. The Rashad Jamals on the pair, like just all the teachers, all of them. And then we got our crystal children in the 90s, you know, where they're really bright, high vibrancy. We can walk into a room and change the energy. And, you know, I've always been that being, and I always knew I was old soul before I knew what the soul was, before I learned what the soul is compared to spirit and body. So I just had so many questions. And then, just as of recently, I would say in this very year itself, the year 2022 has been like by far the most revealing and, enlightening year for me. Enlightening year in the sense where I'm seeking that. It's not nowhere in the sense there or in the place where I feel like I know everything or know more than the other. I feel like intelligence is based on how much you want to know, not how much you do know, but how much you want to know. That's gonna push you forward. So it all came down to my sister Anna. So much love to her. After that, I had great conversations, great talks, and great smoke sessions with, great topics. And she also it's interesting enough, she did a slight reversion back into the church. Maybe her spirit wasn't really ready for it, but I feel like, maybe she was supposed to give it to me so I can, take the run. But I also, I'm patient. So I believe that everyone will come to their realizations in one lifetime or the other.
Shout out to Queen Anna. Like the women, like I take for granted how much, like as a woman, we set that standard, that precedent for our brothers. I'm a big sister too. My brother's a Libra as well. And he adores me so much. The same way when you talk about Anna, it reminds me of him. But kind of coming towards the end of our interview, I wanted to ask you, what would you tell the younger Alex?
If I can give a message to the younger Alex, I would look at him, I would hold his hands and I'll look at him in his eyes and I'll be like, no, you're not crazy. Your intuition is spot on. You are different in a sense to the vast majority, because not like different, you're special, egotistical, but like, they are the masses. People who are still in like a sheephood of mentality and way of life and still in the matrix. But I had the early calling to get out of it, a very early time. And people saw that in me. People always saw, that I was very good and with older people, like very professional, very mature at a younger age. So yes, I would just tell him to keep on enjoying the moment and keep on asking the questions, because, curiosity leads to all the answers and the truth.
Yes. Now you can tell your little mini Alex, what to do. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Final question. What do you hope to see more of in the world that you don't see today?
What I hope to see more of in the world. I hope to see more of people taking responsibility for their own healing, because I feel like as a people, we're so quick to point the finger at the person who did the damage and not to point the finger back at ourselves and be like, okay, this person hurt me, but it's up to me, to fix that, to go in and fix that pain and to get rid of it, because it just stores in the body, like spirit really transitions into the physical and vice versa. Like all that anger, that grief, and those bad feelings that we hold inside of ourselves, we don't do anything with it. Over time, they will manifest into what we call, cancers and other diseases, things like that. The body being out of disease. So I feel like people should make that choice for themselves, to truly love themselves and to heal themselves. And that's what I wish to see, because then it'll show and it'll reflect outwards. There'll be so much less projections. Some people leading with their shadow self, and people will be leading with their higher selves. So, instead of like changing the world on a whole, if everyone just went inside and, look for what needs to be healed, because we all have some healing that needs to be done to a degree or the other. No one is coming here with like a perfect life. In this life, in the 3D matrix world, like it's built for imperfection.